Welcome to Shadow Empire Academy. Today you will learn how to design great models and use them in your army. Also, you will learn how to read all those numbers in the model screen. We'll go through the discovery process of new model types. Also, we'll discuss how to use blueprints to design new models. And the most important, how to use your Model Design Council to produce high quality models and to do it fast. Okay, so let's call your Model Design Council. You can see there are two orders that we can give him to set priorities and to design new models. Start with priorities, as this is quite important to have a proper distribution of bureaucratic points across our two tasks. First task is to discover new model types, which will be visible on this screen in the tab section. Here we have all model types that we can discover and we already discovered. And if we increase the amount of bureaucratic points for this task, then we will see new models in this screen faster. Also, we will discover only models that have gray background. So those models are ready to be discovered. Bazooka, artillery, motorbikes, because we have all dependencies already discovered and all technologies already discovered by Military Research Council. For example, I cannot discover rocket launcher because I have missing technology, rocketry, which you can find here. So we need to wait for our Military Research Council to discover this and research this technology to unlock our type. But even if we unlock this type, we need to have discovered previous model because we cannot discover something down the hierarchy. So the hierarchy is important and the technologies required to unlock the models. And then the game will randomize between all model types that are ready to be discovered. So the gray one, light gray. Okay, the second task is also very important because it's a speed of designing new models. If you really need your new models fast on the front line, then you can increase this number and allocate more points here, but with a cost of discovery. But now let's keep it 50-50 because we would like also to discover new models because early game we need them and then we can start designing them. Confirm. Okay. So if you deal with the priorities, then next task is to design specific models. So this is another task of our Model Design Council. And here you can see all model types that you already discovered. That's why I would like to see here more model types. And we can start designing them. So you can see there is a cost in bureaucratic points and there are two numbers. The second number is a cost for completely new brand design for that model type. And this first number is a cost for a new variant based on the current design. So it's important to understand that we have base variant and on top of the base variant we can improve models or we can try to develop a completely new variant. That's why you will see two buttons. The second option is cheaper because the evolution of existing model is much cheaper, but the cost will increase with each iteration, and sometimes in future it can be even higher than the brand new design. What's the difference between those two? The difference is that you can use the second option if you are happy with your stats for that model. So let's go to our stats. Before we will design anything, we go to Manage Model. Here we can see all of our models, the combat value, the cost. Right now, I have only one model for my infantry and one model for my recon buggies. And let's go through the design. In the quality section, we will see what's the quality of our model, and this is used to automatically upgrade units across your formations. I explained this in my video about upgrading units. And the variance is what's the composition of technologies and equipment used to create this design. And those values are the ones that we select in our blueprints. So for example, for recon buggy, if I create new blueprint, here I can select advanced machine gun, minimal 5mm plating and light diesel engine. And then you will see, oh, here is medium diesel engine, so this one. And those choices will appear here as description of that variant. And field testing means how much I have used this unit across my formations in combat. The higher the percentages, the better will be our next iterations and variants of that design. Okay, production cost is not as much interesting as others, so only watch the manpower, metal, industrial cost. In this tab, there are two stats quite important. Move oil is information how many fuel this unit will consume per each hex of movement. So if I move my battalion of buggies 10 hexes, I will consume 19 multiplied by 10, so 190 fuel. And this is amount of ammunition used by the whole unit for one combat round. And also food consumption. But please notice that tank is using 26 oil per each hex for the unit and more ammo. And in case of artillery, you can see that, okay, they don't use oil because in this case, this is foot artillery and we can motorize it later. You can watch my video about formation types, but the combat ammo is quite high. And this is, if there are a few rounds of combat, then you can really drain your ammunition. So the whole battalion of artillery can be really costly regarding ammo. So when you are designing new artilleries using blueprints, also you should take into account the amount of ammo that each type of gun is using. Because it's great to have the highest possible gun, but is your ammo production able to provide enough ammunition? So this is, I would say, this choice is more, I would say, economic one, and also it should match your opponent armor. So if you know that in next war the opponent will have worse armor, then you can use cheaper but still relevant size of your gun. Okay, buggies. And this tab is the most interesting one. And here we have many numbers. So there are, as you can see, there are different backgrounds creating some sections. So this dark gray section, 5 numbers, is about our design. How good is our design? The next 5 numbers is how good is our equipment and what's the base value for our firepower, for our engines, or for our armor. And here also field testing. And the last 3 numbers in that section are the final numbers that you will see in the unit card. So hit points, soft attack, and hard attack are visible here. There are exactly the same numbers like in our unit card. The game, to create those 3 numbers, will use as a base our equipment. So for example, for hit points, the game will use armor strength. 160 would be the maximum hit points our unit can have if our armor design will be 100, because then we would use 100% of this number. But we are using only 77% from 160. That's why our hit points are 123 in defense against hard targets, but against infantry, vehicles are weaker, so they have less hit points against infantry. That's why this is this high number here. Regarding attack, both attack values are based on the firepower and modified by the type of unit and planetary conditions and your equipment. So 200 is the base value that we could have if we would have here 100 weapon design, but we have only 69. So we use 69% from 200, and also our attack is modified by the type of the unit. So those are the final numbers. But if you are really curious how they are calculated, you can go to unit card, open design log, and here you will see, here you can find somewhere, those are how the design is calculated, but here you can see soft attack was 138 based on firepower, because this is the 69% from 200 is exactly 138. So our design affected the equipment base value, but later the soft attack and hard attack are also modified by other factors like weapon type. Also, machine guns are better in defense. That's why the attack is decreased. And on the last page, you can see that also the attack is modified by the air pressure of our planet. So less pressure, the high velocity of the projectiles, and the more damage we can cause. Okay, so you know that the weapon, armor, and engine design are how many percentage we'll use from the equipment. Same for engine design. Like we are using nearly full power of our engine. So in this case, nearly 300 will be used because we are here nearly 100%. But also the weight is important, and the game then somehow calculates if we have a negative or positive modifier to the action point cost in our movement. So if you have heavy equipment and the engine power is low, then you can expect that the movement will be also worse. You can check this in our blueprints. So if you go to Recon Buggy design, you can see that we have minus 20% of action point cost. So this is a positive value. So the minus is positive here. But light diesel engine and heavy armor would cause a decrease in our movement. So we will pay 60% more per hex for our movement because the engine power is smaller than the weight of our unit. So in this case, I should increase the size of our engine. Now both numbers are green, so this design is good, but I will increase the oil consumption. So you can see that from light to medium, I increase from 2.3 to 2.7, and maybe this is quite small, but this number is per single subunit. So in normal buggies, we have 5 subunits, so you should multiply that by 5, and this is per hex. So if you move 10 hexes, you should multiply it by 10. So you, in general, multiply by 50 to see the cost in, let's say, one turn. Okay, go back to our model, and we discuss how the final numbers are calculated based on the percentage used on top of the base values provided by equipment. But those two numbers are really important ones, and now we need to discuss them, because the first number means how good is the whole design, and this number is generated by the game only once. So only when you create brand new design, the game calculates this number, and then any iteration and variation of this design will inherit that number. New iterations can have improved base design and improved engine design. Also, if we add new equipment, we can have better values here, but this number will never change. This number only change when you create new brand design. So this is important factor. So if we are happy with that number, we should then focus on evolving and creating new designs. But how we can say if this number is good? So let's go to our design log. You can see that the structural design is a number between 70 and 130. And our Model Design Council had a role to randomize this number, and including his inventor skill, he managed to have 95 as a structural design. 95 is a good value because everything around 100 will be, I would say, neutral. Everything below, like 80, 70 would be terrible because this structural design is, as you can see later in the log, is modifier for engine, armor, and weapon design. So if I would have 70 structural design, then I would have minus 30% for that three values. So there would be no sense to evolve that design. But if this is higher than 100, then it's very good and you should try to evolve it. Base design is I treat it equally like field testing because it's a base field testing for that unit. So when you start design, the game also randomize the base design between 70 and 100. The game will try to generate this number for each new variant of your design. And this number also impact our three designs, so engine, weapon, and armor. I'm not sure, but as far as I know, half of the base design is contributing to those three, and then there is some role for your model design council for his improvisation skill, and based on that role, the game can have additional roles for that stats. So the higher the improvisation skill and our leader role, the more is added to the base design, and the higher the engine design will be for the next iterations. So those four numbers can be improved later. So if you have 84 here, you should not be worried as far as this number is high. So let's check once again and summarize this. Structural design is only randomized once per design. Base design is generated for each iteration, and both are contributing to engine design, armor design, and weapon design. As you can see, engine design based on base design and modified for structured design. This is only for air units, so you can see how good is the design and it's if the speed is enough to take off, what's the range, what's the fuel consumption. I recommend simply to use the blueprints, and here you will see if what's the range of your aircraft. 12 hex is quite okay, but you need to play a bit with those options and check how the range is changing, and if you see here green numbers, because if I add something heavier, you can see that it's too heavy, so probably I need to play more with those values, but also the kind of engines is important. So this is quite tricky, but here you can see that 3 hex is limited range, but I manage it, or even 4 hexes if we decrease the engine, because the weight will change and also decrease. So not always the heaviest and the biggest options are good, because here it helped, but this not, so because it's too heavy. So you can see that I managed to have 5 hex range with a kind of bomber with 5 kilograms of bombs. Precision bombs are much lighter. So, for example, if you would like to attack heavy targets, then this option is better because the weight is lower. Okay, go back to our last tab, technologies used. So this is also important when you will discover new technologies. Currently, I have no technologies that can affect my design, but in future, if you go to technologies, especially the ones from applied engineering, will have big impact, like conventional small arms will increase the firepower of all infantry units, and conventional gun will increase firepower of all vehicles. Also here on the left, there are armor technologies. So you can see that there are many technologies that can affect our design. For example, tanks, if you design side skirts, will have better protection against infantry. As you saw here, our tank design is quite weak against infantry, but if with the technology side skirts that will appear here, our tank will be much better against infantry in defense. Okay, so now we can check once again what's the structured design of our units, and we can see that soldiers are okay, 100, very good. Machine guns could be improved, 89, so we're losing, 11%. I don't know. We need to think about that. So this is the biggest problem. Anti-aircraft guns also weak design, and this also weak design. But ultralight is very good, and anti-tank guns are fine. Buggies are acceptable. I would say 95. I would accept. Could be above 100. I would be happy with 110. But okay, depending on your own preferences and bureaucratic points available. These numbers, don't care about them, because if you increase the field testing, the next iterations will improve this very fast. And then you will also improve the free design numbers. Okay, we discussed how to interpret all those numbers. By the way, if you click on this screen, below you can see in which formations our unit is used. So it's also a good information to see. I have no buggies used anywhere, but machine guns in 1st Machine Gun Infantry Brigade. So this way you can easily see where are your models. Okay, let's go to our Model Design Council. And now if we know that our machine guns could have better base design, I would not select the second option, but I would select the third option to create new base design. It's quite expensive now, so I could do it maybe later when I will have more bureaucratic points in my budget. And now I can select no new orders. Why? Because I would like to redirect all bureaucratic points from the research task to the discovery task. So select this one and play next turn. We have next turn. We can go to our organizations and Model Design Council, because here we can see what is the progress of our designs and discovery. So you can see that we accumulated 34 bureaucratic points. 20 fresh bureaucratic points was added to this value. So the higher the accumulated amount of bureaucratic points, the bigger chance that we will discover something, the new model types. Please notice that our relation with that leader gave us a 13% bonus to the discovery, and his inventor skill also could give us a bonus. But sadly, there was no successful roll. As you can check in the skill log, the bonus was 0 for both tasks, discovery and design. And for discovery, we use our inventor skill, and for design, we are using technical skill. So our Model Design Council should be good at inventor and should be a good technician. I explained this card in my video about leaders. So if you are interested what this star means, go there. So nothing discovered, nothing happened, but you can see that all points were transferred from here to here. So we are not losing anything, because I decided to not design anything. I didn't change the allocation of the bureaucratic points, but the game moved all points here because we do not design anything. Let's play next turn. On this turn, we have discovered finally new model type, bazooka. So we can go to manage types, and we can see that the color changed from light gray to I would say green, and it means that we discovered this model type, but we don't have any designs inside, because you can see those numbers here are representing how many designs you have inside that model type. In this case, I have only hotwitzer, one design for that type, but for bazooka model type, I have no designs. So let's change it. So we can go to decisions because the game noticed that we could design something. And we have already open design screen. You can see new model type appeared here, and there is only one number because this is the first iteration of our design. I can only build a brand new design. This is the old way of selecting a weapon or armor, but this is not very intuitive and you don't know how it will affect your units. So the better option is to choose blueprint and to create a blueprint for our bazooka. So here you will see a new model type. I can create new blueprint. This name is usually the model type and the number, but you can change it here. We can call it, for example, Rocketman. Rocketman. It's a good name for our bazooka guys. And we can select here between technologies that we discovered. So I have RPG discovered. So this is another option in our design. But the next one could be guided RPGs. They need to be discovered and researched. So only the green ones will be visible here as options. Same with armor. You can see I have researched the padded Enviro suit, but I don't have combat armor. So even if I would discover combat armor, it would be yellow. It will not appear as an option, but when I will research the discovered combat armor and it will be green like this RPG, then you will see them here as an option. And by selecting them, you can see how we change the base values of our model. So those are the same, which are shown here. Those are the base values from equipment, and the blueprints are very good to see how they will look like. And those values are estimated numbers based on our equipment and some, I would say, example design log. So this design log is like average that can give you some information that is needed to calculate the soft attack, hard attack, and hit points. But the final model will have those numbers different because your design will be different because you don't know what will be the roles for engine design because your model design council will roll using his inventor skill and there can be different number here. So those are only example values that the game is using to calculate this example probable hard attack and hit points and soft attack. Okay, so we created our design with a name, and this name is only for blueprint. It will not appear anywhere. So the final model name will be different. The game is using some fancy names, but if you don't like it, you can change the model name here from soldiers to something else. So the names of your models and blueprints are not connected. So let's go to our design screen, and I would like to create brand new design for bazooka. And now you can see that instead of selecting the technologies here, we can select our blueprint and we can see what technologies were used in that blueprint. So this is very good to use blueprints because we can preview the stats of our unit before we design it. So let's design our brand new version of bazooka. and play next turn. Okay, we are in next turn. In organizations model, we can check the progress of our design. So each turn, the amount of bureaucratic points we assign for design model task will be used to increase percentage of our design. So currently we have 33% progress of our model thanks to the 37 bureaucratic points assigned. And the final amount of bureaucratic points is 160 to have full design. Please notice that our director this time added 46% of bonus because of the relation. So the relation is very important to speed up our work. Also, we had an inventor skill bonus 24% to discovery process because we are still discovering in the same time when we are designing, but there was no bonus here. So let's play next turn. So let's check what changed this turn. If you go to Model Design Council, we can see that after another turn, we have 79% of progress. So the previous progress was 43%. Last turn, we increased the progress by 36%. Sadly, there was no bonus from our technical skill. Let's check another turn. Okay, so this turn, we finally develop new model, rocket launcher. This is name created by the game. We can change it. And let's jump into our new model. So go to model, RPG, and you can see now I have new model designed. But let's check how the design was created. You can see that structure design is 103, so very good. For me, it's quite nice. It could be worse. So we have even positive value here. And base design is 86, never mind, because we'll use this in our war and it will improve over time. But those three numbers, those two numbers, because this is not vehicle, could be better. So we are not using fully our firepower and our armor. Probably when I will gain some field testing, then I will try to create new variant. And also I will wait maybe for some better equipment like guided RPGs. Maybe I will be able also to develop some technologies. One hint, if you go to here letterbox, you can see here what happened. Because sometimes it's easy to miss the information about the new model, what was really developed, so you can see it here. Also, you can go to your previous VidCom messages and you can go through all of them once again. So you do not lose the VidCom if you start your turn. Okay, so now let's check our other game where I have more advanced units. Okay, I loaded my different game where you can see here was some heavy fighting with major AI, and our units for sure have some field testing. So if you can see, my infantry gain a lot of field testing because of the fights that were happening. And the last one, you can see also they are using the quite advanced weapon and combat armor. So that's even if the structural design does not change for each iteration, you can see that the base design was changing and how the base design is changing. So for the first variant, base design maximum is 130. So the game subtract 130 minus 82 base design and multiply that by this percentage, and it will give us the increase of base design for the next model. So the next model will have 109 points of base design because of this percentage and the difference between this base number and the maximum number. So you can see that here we have 109 in the new model. So you can easily check what will be the new base design of your model, and it's heavily affected by this field testing. So this design, when I go here, you can see that because I used heavily this unit in combat, I gain a lot of field testing. By the way, you get more field testing when you are receiving damage than if you are adding damage to somebody else. Here, game exactly tell me that current field testing is at 131 points. and the maximum field testing can go to 140. So you can see that for each new iteration, our base design can be increased by 10 points for the maximum value. So here the maximum was 130, here is 140, and here it will be 150. So you can check that you can see the maximum is 150. If we are increasing over time in each variant our base design, we can expect that our weapon or armor design will also increase, but not always. So here we had no difference because the game is testing inventor skill of our model design council. So if the roll is lower than the previous value, the game keep the previous value. But if the roll is higher than the previous value, then we keep the highest value. So we can only improve, but we will never degrade our design values. And those depending on your design choices and technologies. So if you check here, technologies, you can see that this variant of my infantry was using GR ring mail. It's a special GR technology visible here. By the way, I made a separate video about GR technologies, so please watch it if you are curious about that topic. But this technology is increasing our armor by 75 points. So this unit could benefit from it, but not this unit, because I get that technology after I created this unit. But later, I also gained GR optics. So this unit was not able to use it because the technologies are applying to the units that we design when the technologies are available. So they are not affecting any already designed units, only the new designed. But here we don't see any increases. Let's go to check our tank. But our tank have some interesting technologies. So you can notice that also not only infantry, but also tank was using the GR optics here. And this tank is also using it, but it's moved to the new column. But this is quite interesting technology, fuel efficiency. So it's decreasing the amount of fuel used by our tanks. Also, we have increase in our firepower because on the conventional guns, advanced sensors, increasing our recon points. And side skirts are protecting us from small arms fire. So you can see that all technologies that are green, even I have here polymer armor. So I could design a new brand tank. You can see I have many designs already. Let's find our light tank. I already have a blueprint for new tank that will use our polymer plating. It's very good armor because the weight is much lower than the steel plating, so I don't need to use oil, because you can see that with steel plating I would use 2.9 oil and I will have negative cost to the movement, and with the same thickness of armor, 50 millimeters, same as here, but because this is polymer I have no negative effect to the movement, so the tank is faster using the same armor. I could even decrease the engine, but it's not worth here, so better to have heavy engine and have no penalty to movement. Okay, and the last topic is about our model design council. Here you can see which skills of our leader are participating to the design. In this case, we even had a negative modifier because the roll was really low for the improvisation. But we get a bonus to the base design roll because of the technical roll. So for structural design, we use inventor. For discovery, we use inventor. For all engine, armor, weapon designs, we use improvisation. And for designing models, speed, technical. And for base design, also technical. So our leader is very important here. Okay, I think that's all regarding designing new models. And if you are curious how to upgrade them to use the designs in practice, please watch my video about upgrading units. Thank you very much.